So once again, good afternoon to all the participants, and I formally welcome you all to this online session or the workshop. For the next 150 minutes, as per the schedule, I would like to interact with you on the topic and overview of e-learning. Professor Nagendraswamy has already introduced me. I request all the participants to mute in case if there is any emergency and if you want to speak with someone. Okay, so you should not disturb the others. It's a sincere request from my end. Please mute in case if at all you want to speak to someone else at your office on emergency, right? So thank you very much. And I expect your attention, the cooperation for the next 15 minutes. And of course, we have a break in between after 1 hour, 15 minutes. Then we'll be having 30 minutes break, and then we'll be back and we shall discuss about the topic. So with this small information, and before I proceed with the topic, I just wanted to share a few points with you, which are very generic. And of course, you may be already familiar with that. The first point I would like to share with you is the subject which we are discussing today is not new to you. I hope that you are already very much acquainted with this topic. And the second thing is this idea of e-learning and online learning is not to replace the traditional learning, but it is considered as an enhanced way of learning or a supplement to the traditional learning, because many a times the participants or even sometimes the students or experts may argue what about this e-learning or online learning? What are the of course they argue that there are some disadvantages. Of course, may be true, but we will understand how can we go ahead with this and how this idea is very much useful to the instructors or teachers or students or to the institution as well. So I have prepared the material by going through some very important articles. And also I have extracted some information from the web sources, and I've included all those details in the reference as well. So with this, I would like to start the session. So as we already know, the topic is an overview of e-learning. Some of the points which I have mentioned here is very generic in nature, which you are already familiar. But for the sake of completeness and continuity, I have included those points. If you are already familiar, it's good, and maybe you can interact with much more information regarding that at a higher level of detail. And of course, I would like to give you some more technical points as well. Okay, so with this, now let me begin the session more formally. So to start with, let me mention this quote: every interaction is an opportunity to learn only if we are interested in improving rather than proving. So it has a lot of meaning. I'm sure that all of you can accept this and also interpret it very well at your consciousness. Now, as I already mentioned, whatever the material I have referred and I have kept here in this presentation can be highlighted with this presentation outline. It starts with an introduction, then types of learning, importance of e-learning, characteristics of e-learning, e-learning methods, ADDIE process, e-learning tools and companies, future of e-learning, e-learning SWOT analysis, summary and conclusion, followed by references. So I have highlighted the whole content of this presentation this way. And definitely when you look at this content, you can understand that some points are quite technical and some points are general. And I try to spend more time when it comes to technical. And of course, the general points are maybe already familiar to you. Just for the sake of completeness and continuity, I have included those points. Okay, so let's begin with an introduction, right? I have just included these points as an introduction. But of course, each of us are quite familiar with this technology after COVID-19 because it made us to understand the importance of the technology. In spite of such a crisis, the education sector has not stopped its responsibility and starts from even the LKG and pre-KG and up to a higher education at the PG level. We are all the teachers and we have started adopting the technology to deliver our classes online only. And because of that, we were able to manage our responsibility. At the same time, we have helped our students to continue their education without any gap. And it could become possible just because of the technology, and that too we already familiar. It is online learning or e-learning. So definitely there could be some disadvantages or limitations as well. But when it comes to benefits and advantages, obviously any technology will always comes with a positive ideas and also the advantages. But it is at our hand to make use of the technology for a good thing or in a constructive way, not in a destructive way. So it is obvious that we have to accept the change because we know that nothing is permanent except change. So this technology has revolutionized our day-to-day activities and our lifestyle, and almost all the sectors are very well influenced by the technology today. We cannot escape from the technology. We have to adopt the technology and get updated with the technology, and then we have to go ahead. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to sustain in future. So this is what is the fact we must understand, and accordingly, I have just mentioned few points in this context as an introduction. So we live in a knowledge-based economy that is characterized by advancements in technology, globalization, intensive computation, and rapid changes in customer needs. To be able to consistently grow, cope with these changes, and stay ahead of the game, the workforce must keep itself constantly updated with new concepts, skills, and technology. So this is what I already mentioned. We should accept the change. We should understand the new concepts, and we have to acquire the skills, and also we must stay updated with the technology. And that is the only way for us to survive in future. Otherwise, it's very difficult to sustain or survive. So in this context, now let's understand what is e-learning. So it is the process or experience of gaining knowledge or skill. Of course, whether it is e-learning or a traditional learning or a classroom, whatever it may be, in general, a learning is nothing but the process or experience of gaining knowledge or a skill. We are all teachers. We are very much familiar with this. I need not explain it. So the relatively permanent change in a person's knowledge or behavior due to experience. So definitely, when we learn something new and when we acquire the skill and the knowledge, definitely our behavior will change. The way we address the situation, the way we handle the situation or perform the task, everything will be optimized. And that is what is the learning, right? You can take any example for that matter. It could be a cooking, or it could be a driving, it could be a swimming, or any work for that matter. more and more experience and more knowledge we acquire, definitely it will bring a permanent change in our behavior. And that's what is actually the learning. So it's a process that leads to a change which occurs as a result of experience and increases the potential of improved performance and a future learning. So definitely when we get more and more knowledge, and definitely our performance will be improved. So because we have already experienced it, more the performance mean experience, our performance will also be improved, right? Because if a student reads an article, maybe he can understand 50% of the overall concept having read that article for the first time. But the same article, if read by an experienced person, a professor, or an experienced researcher, and definitely that researcher can understand almost 90% of that content. And that's what is the improved performance and the future of learning, right? So this is the process, or this is the change what we expect in our life when we say a learning. So with this, when it comes to a types of learning, now let me define the digital learning. So today we are all very much comfortable and very much familiar with the digital learning because of smartphones, right? So today the smartphone is not just used only for a communication, but it is replaced, or it has replaced many things as such. I'm sure that in future the smartphone will replace many things like a television and newspapers, right? And projectors and library, many things as such. But still, we need those things as well. You will see how and why. But at this point of time, let's understand what is a digital learning. It's a type of modern learning option which includes a combination of e-learning, online learning, and a blended learning along with offline digital learning. So today, whether it is a researcher or a student or a teacher or a professor, whoever it is, we always communicate through a technology or in a digital mode. And even in many offices and institutions, the circulars and notice and everything will be sent in a digital form only, right? Because the WhatsApp is a platform which we are all quite familiar, and we form a group and we send messages, and we even send the circulars, notices in an office environment or an institution or an university, etc. Right? So all such type of learning. Okay, I mean, I download a digital article that is from a e-library or any portal. I read it, I understand it, I learn something out of it. So all these things will comes under a digital learning. So it's a type of a modern learning option which includes a combination of e-learning, online learning, and blended learning along with offline digital learning. So we can have a downloaded digital material with our smartphone or a laptop or a desktop, and we can refer that digital material as and when required. Okay, searching is easy, organizing is easy, and we can refer easily. But the only thing is we just have to use the technology, that is a laptop or a desktop or a smartphone. So that's what is offline digital learning. So in addition to that, we can also have access to internet, and through which we can access to any institutions, right, and web sources, and we can get the material and we can learn. So all these things put together is referred to as a digital learning at a higher level of learning umbrella. So within that, we have now like an e-learning. It's a type of learning where internet technologies are used to deliver a broad array of solutions that enhance knowledge and performance. The students and the teacher interact online in this type of learning. So whatever we are doing just now is an example of a e-learning. So because I am sitting at this end and all of you are get connected to me through this platform, and of course you are sitting at your office or at home and you are listening to me, right? And this is what is a learning, and that's e-learning, which is supported with the internet technologies and also the other supportive software and tools. So with this, definitely we can enhance our knowledge and also the performance, right? And we will see some of the advantages or benefits of this way of learning or this type of learning. So followed by that, we can still have a blended learning. So when I say a blended learning, it is nothing but a combination of the advanced learning, I mean e-learning or a digital learning with a traditional offline learning as well. And we call it as a blended learning. 1 minute. Okay. So it's a kind of virtual learning which combines the traditional learning of face-to-face interactions of the teacher with online instructions of a remote teacher through a video conferencing tool like a Microsoft Link or Easy Talks or Cloud Meeting, and etc. And many of you are already familiar with these tools, right? So whenever we wanted to schedule an online meeting, we use different platforms like a Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, right? And similarly, there are many other tools which we can use for a video conferencing. 1 minute. Okay. So Easy Talk, Cloud Meeting, and etc. So we can use all those tools and the platform in order to deliver classes online. In addition to that, we can also have a face-to-face interactions. So in many institutions in abroad or even in metropolitan cities and in other institutions, they adopt this kind of learning. Okay. So because definitely it is very difficult to manage all the learning skills and the material and the syllabus just within the regular timing or a regular 20 regular timing hours like 10 to 5. So it's good that even if we can adopt these kind of techniques to deliver the things to the students who really need additional support as far as their learning pace is concerned, because as you already aware that in a class of 50 students, maybe we can expect 30 students are very good at and they can follow and they can understand and they can cope up with the speed at which we are delivering a lecture or giving assignments and everything. But there could be, or maybe there are some students who could not learn or grasp with that speed, right? So definitely there is a hidden limitations, or of course it depends from person to person, right? Some persons can understand better and grasp at a faster rate, but some students may need more time to understand. They are called as slow learners. So how can we help such slow learners? So definitely the content to be delivered is same. The time which is allotted to deliver that content is also same, but the students are slow learners. How can we enhance their learning ability? How can we provide more to such slow learners? Obviously, it is a blended learning. How much we can deliver in offline classes we can deliver, and at the same time we can allow such students to attend the online sessions, and through online sessions we can provide more information, more instructions and more material so that we can bring them to the normal students level, right? So that's how in many institutions they use a blended learning. So not only for that, in any way, in any case, we can think of using this blended learning. Okay, so even in research also, because the student is working somewhere else, maybe in a corporate sector or in some other institutions, but such a student wanted to carry out the research where the supervisor is in some other institution or some other college or so, then maybe it's difficult for a student to meet the supervisor every day. Then how can they get into the discussion, or how can they update the progress, or how they can interact? So definitely it can be definitely considered as a blended learning where they can discuss with the progress online and they can meet the supervisors face to face and discuss. So that's how they can carry and they can continue. So that's an example of a blended learning. So with all this, so online learning can be described as the combination of a blended and e-learning. So the key element is the internet. So many times we synonymously use e-learning, online learning, digital learning, etc. But to make it more clear, here is an example visualization of different types of learning. At the top, we have a digital learning. So the digital learning covers all these types of learning, that is online learning, blended learning, e-learning, and offline digital learning. So all these things are considered as a digital learning only because we use the technology for a learning purpose. And within this, we have a two broad categories, that is online learning and then this offline digital learning. And within this online learning, we have a blended learning and also the e-learning, right? So this is how we can understand the different types of learning and their classification with this simple visualization. So with this understanding, now let me discuss why e-learning. So definitely, you know the answer to this question because you're quite familiar with this technology already. Why e-learning? But I try to give you some more details regarding this particular question. Now let us look at this statement given by John Chambers, the CEO of Cisco System. So the Cisco is a very popular company which provides service in the network domain, right? So this company CEO, John Chambers, has made this statement. There are two great equalizers in life, that is the internet and education. By combining the two, e-learning will be the great equalizer in the next century. By eliminating the barriers of time, distance, and socio-economic status, individuals can now take charge of their own lifelong learning. So definitely, if we analyze this statement, we can understand many things with this sentence. So there are many students who do not have time to attend the regular classes, but they have the intensity and they have an interest in learning something new. Then how can we provide such an environment or opportunity for such students? Okay, so because you have already seen that many students or many people in the society, they have left the education, maybe at a primary level or at a graduate level, just because they could not cope up with the time, because they have to work for their bread and butter every day, right? They have to earn money for their food, but at the same time they have to learn. Then how can they manage time, right? So definitely, apart from working somewhere else in the company or any institution or anyway, so still if they have that interest of learning, they can make themselves, they can take time and they can learn, and that definitely will be supported by this technology. And then the distance. So definitely today we can't afford to study at a very premier institutes abroad, but there are many universities in abroad, maybe in USA or UK, in Australia. They provide online education, right? The students can enroll for online education or a distance education. They can learn the way the others are learning. So not only in abroad, even many universities in India, so they are providing a distance education, online education. So we can enroll online, we can study online, we can get the degree online. So because you are already aware of that, right? I will let you know some such institutions in our subsequent slides under the title SWAYAM platform or a MOOC platform. So it definitely eliminated the barrier of a distance, right? Wherever you are, it doesn't matter for you, as long as you have an interest to learn something. So definitely there is a opportunity, there is a chance for such students or the learners to learn. And that's how the barriers of distance has been eliminated. Or the social economic status. So definitely, whenever we offer any course in a distance mode or online or through a technology, the same content and the same instructor will be delivering a lecture, and there is no limitation, right, or restriction for any student to get enrolled. There is nothing like any economics, socio-economic status as such, right? Even an ordinary person can enroll and they can study the same subject. The same expert will deliver a lecture even to an ordinary person or a person who is a very, very important person in the society. So the technology or this e-learning platform will never distinguish between an ordinary person or a very important person, right? So definitely we can provide a equality in that aspect, because earlier there was a concept that only the top class people can study in a top class universities, or only they can approach the top class instructors or professors as such. But now that's not like that. Okay, so this anybody can enroll, and all such students can get the same level of lecture or material or learning environment, right? And that's how we can provide the equality. And that's what he mentioned, that internet and education are the two great equalizers in life, right? And definitely we can eliminate the barriers of time, distance, and socioeconomic status by adopting this technology. And that's what is said by the John Chambers, CEO of Cisco Systems. So in continuation to this, now we can understand this in this way. It expands opportunity of education for everyone, right? Okay, whoever who interested to learn, we can provide an opportunity of education to each and everyone, right? And then quality of learning, we are not distinguishing the same quality of teaching, learning, delivery, environment will be extended for all the learners. So the quality of learning can be enhanced, or we can expand it through tools and the technology, and increases the delivery of learning, right? And definitely we can speed up the delivery through a technology, and you will see how it can be done in our subsequent slides. And also it improves the efficiency of teaching, right? So many times, of course, you're all quite familiar that whenever we want to explain some concept, we write a picture on the board and then we explain, because the picture worth 1,000 words. We are already very much familiar with such a statement. So if you just read only the text, and if you don't visualize that, then it is very difficult for us to understand. Many times our students just read the text and they try to remember the text as it is. They don't convert the text into visualization, and that visualization into the scenario. So unless we do such thing, it's very difficult to remember the idea and the concept, and we can analyze and we can understand it better. So with the help of the technology under the platform, e-learning platform, so definitely we can enhance the efficiency of the teaching by adopting those technologies and those tools, right? So this e-learning will definitely expand the opportunity of education, expand the quality of learning, increases the delivery of learning, and improves the efficiency of teaching as well. So with this, now let me see why e-learning, right? So in continuation to that, e-learning can be as effective as a traditional training at a lower cost. So definitely you can easily understand this. For example, if the HRDC of University of Mysore wanted each and every participant to be in this center for offline delivery of such a session, definitely you can understand that how much of cost involved in such a session. So definitely you have to travel from your place to this Mysore, and you have to stay in Mysore, right? And you have to manage all your day-to-day expenses and everything. So definitely this e-learning platform or online platform has reduced that, right? And in that sense, I can say e-learning can be as effective as a traditional training at a lower cost. So almost all corporate sectors now have shifted from offline training to online training, and it is very effective at a lower cost. The first point. And the second thing is, it reaches a wider target audience by engaging learners who have a difficulty attending conventional classroom training. So definitely it's true that many of you may not be able to attend the classes offline, maybe because of time constraint or because of other responsibilities at your office or at your institute. Okay, so but because of this online or e-learning platform, you can manage this, right? So that's how it reaches a wider target of audience by engaging learners who have difficulty in attending the conventional classroom training. So again, the delivery cost of e-learning are considerably lower than those for classroom facilities, instructor time, participants travel, and job time lost to attend the classroom sessions. So we already mentioned that. Okay, so maybe in a with the online platform, we can even address more than 100 students or more than 200, right? It all depends on, of course, we can use some licensed version of the Zoom platform. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Please mute. Okay. So definitely we can think of this. Delivery cost for e-learning are considerably lower than those for a classroom facilities, because definitely in a classroom we need to provide all the facilities for the participants, also for the instructors, and also the travel and the job time lost. So by looking at all these parameters, online or e-learning will definitely reduces the cost and will be much effective when very similar to a traditional environment. So with this, in continuation, e-learning can offer effective instructional methods such as practicing with associated feedback. So now let's understand technically what do you mean by practicing with associated feedback. For example, a student is learning a particular subject like a physics or a mathematics or a computer science. Okay, so let us assume that such a learner is learning such a subject in a online platform or e-learning environment. So, for example, such a student or a learner wants to assess himself or herself whether they have studied properly. It could be a theory, or it could be a practical, or it could be a hands-on session, whatever it may be. Everything can be very well simulated with the technology today. Okay, so for example, if at all we wanted to perform some experiments, so we need to understand whether the experiment has been conducted properly or not. So we can assess ourselves with such a tool. So, and also we can practice if something not learned properly. Okay, for example, you have assigned a task to a student, that means read a particular article or a chapter and answer the questions. Okay, so after having read that particular chapter, there are some self-assessment questions. Okay, maybe true or false questions, or a multiple choice questions, or simple one-word, one-line answer questions. So all those questions will be displayed. Then the student will answer that question. I mean, learner will answer that question. So that learner again verify whether his or answer is correct or not. They can look at the answer as well. Right now, the answer is also is there, and you can compare what is the answer you have given and what is the correct answer, and by doing so you can assess yourself, right? That's what you can understand, and you can assess yourself, and you will be able to know how much you have learned. So that's what is practicing with associated feedback, whether it is a theory, whether it is a hands-on experience session, or it can be a practical. Everything can be done in an effective way, which can be included in an instructional method. And that's how e-learning offer an effective instructional method where we can practice with associated feedback and combining collaboration activities with a self-paced study. So definitely we can have a collaboration activity, right? So many learners or students or instructors across the globe, right, will be working in the same area or in the same domain where you are interested and where you are studying. So you can collaborate with them, and you can interact with them, and you can get more and more knowledge and information from them. So that's how combining collaboration activities with a self-paced study, right? Maybe if you are a working person, and there are many such working class people will be there, after their working hours, maybe 10 to 5 is the working hours, maybe after 5, maybe after 7 o'clock, and all such working class people can have a community, right? And they can discuss among certain topics, right, or issues or scenarios, and they can learn. And that's what the combining collaboration activities with a self-paced study. Okay, so you can manage time yourself and which is convenient to you or convenient for such a collaborative work or an activity, right? That's the meaning. So personalizing learning paths based on the learner needs and using simulation and games. So I already mentioned, we can use simulations and we can use games, and there are slow learners and who want to study after working hours. For all such requirements, e-learning is the solution. So it personalizing the learning paths based on the learner needs and using simulation and games. Okay, so these are some of the very important benefits of e-learning, and that's why we have mentioned why e-learning. This is the answer. So all learners receive the same quality of instruction because there is no dependence on a specific instructor. So this I already mentioned, right? So that's what the equality. So with this, now let's understand some of the benefits, right, for a teacher or for an instructor. So the first point I would like to share with you is the connecting. So what do you mean by connecting? How this helps, or this idea is supported with e-learning platforms. So it allows teachers to stay connected to the students outside of school hours in order to exchange your resources, videos, ideas, methodologies, and pedagogical practices. And many a times we are very much familiar, maybe our kids who are going to schools at various levels like primary, graduation, or a master degree. And even we being the teachers, we also many a times attending some courses, right? So suppose if some resources or videos or ideas need to be shared, so then how we can do it, right? For example, a student going to a primary school has missed some classes, maybe because of health issues. Then how such a student can cope up with missing classes or any other material? So definitely a teacher, right? Because in every school there is a mentor. So there is a mentor for 10 students at a primary school or at a higher graduation. Maybe for 20 students there is a mentor. The mentor is responsible to take care of the students, right? So such a mentor can get connected with the students, and in case if any student could not attend the classes for some reasons, such student can interact and get the resources, maybe in the form of text, videos, audios, or any ideas or methodologies or pedagogical practices. And that's how, without missing any information, right, in spite of such inconvenience environment, we can manage. And that's what is the meaning of connecting. So e-learning platform allow teachers to stay connected with their students outside of the school hours in order to exchange resources, videos, ideas, methodologies, and pedagogical practices. Now today, I am sure that you are all very much familiar that we do form a WhatsApp groups of our students. In our department, every day, when a student gets admitted to our department, then we form a WhatsApp group, and also we form an email group as well. And for the next 2 years, they will be with us, and we do all sorts of communication through a WhatsApp group and also email group. We do share all the resources, videos, ideas, and pedagogical practices through this e-platform only. Because many times we found that the time is not sufficient to allow the students to do a seminar in an offline environment. In such cases, we do allow students to give a similar presentation in online only, and through that only we are going to assess the student, and accordingly we grade it. And that's what is the connecting, and this is good and beneficial for both the teacher as well as the student. But here, if you look at from a tutor point of view, and this is one important point we must remember. And next is the flexibility. That is, among the benefits of e-learning for the teachers is the variety of different resources such as videos, text, presentations, and speeches that they can use to adapt their tutoring methods to the learning style of their students. So definitely, whenever we are assessing a student, some students may be good at presentation, some students are very good at understanding, analyzing, right? And some students are very good at reasoning and programming. Okay, so we need to assess the students in a multi-dimensional perspective. So in that way, so the materials like the videos or text presentations and quizzes can be used, and we can adopt all of them in our tutoring methods and to the learning style of the students. And that is what is the flexibility offered by the e-learning environment. And next is the innovation. The use of new technologies gives teachers the freedom to experiment in their teaching practice and the ability to make changes if something doesn't work. So definitely, we can think of adopting a new technology. Maybe it could be a simulation, or it could be or we are conducting an experimentation through a simulation, right? Then we can experiment how well a student can understand the practical sessions through a simulation, right? Because many times it is very difficult for us to provide them hands-on experience with devices which are very costly. Okay, for example, if at all we want to explain the students to teach the pilot, or many times, for example, in a chemistry department, the teacher has to explain the very dangerous experiments, right? Chemical reactions or titration and etc. Or even the physics teacher want to explain the solar system. How can we do it? Definitely, the simulations will help us. So through simulations or through technology or the tools, we can experiment whether the students can really learn such things in an effective way. Suppose if something not something is not worked out the way expected, then definitely we can make changes, right? So that's how we can bring the innovation, and we can experiment, and we can fine tune, and then we can understand what works out well and what tailoring need to be done, and what changes need to be incorporated to the technology. And that's what is the innovation we can expect from e-learning platform. And next is the accessibility. This online platforms that are now available 24/7 allow teachers to develop and create their material according to their schedules and whenever they want. And this we are already familiar. So at our convenience, we can make use of this platform, and we can access to any material, and we can get our maybe the presentation is ready, material is ready, okay, any resources get ready. So with all this, because we have a 24/7 accessibility, so we can do it at our convenience, and that's how we can manage the even tight schedules. Then the passion-based learning. Online platform allow teachers to support their students outside the classroom and to give them additional instructions on subjects like art, singing, chess, and cooking. So apart from our regular teaching like physics, mathematics, computer science, economics, arts, or English, even we can teach the art, singing, chess, cooking, everything online. And we can see, as I already mentioned, if something doesn't work out, then definitely we can make changes, right? And that's how the blended learning will support us in such cases, right? Okay, so this is how we can understand. And in continuation, we also have an efficiency. There's the benefits of e-learning for teachers include the ability to receive a constant feedback from the students about whether they understand the material, if it is interesting to them, etc. So online platforms provide a large variety of assessment tools where a teacher can assess the students, or even the students can assess the teachers. So both is possible, right? Even many times we teachers have to learn certain things from the students, because many times we assume that whatever we are delivering and whatever the pedagogy we are following is good, right? But that is our assumption. But how do we know that whether that is good for all the class of students, right? For example, whenever we are delivering a lecture in a class or in an online platform, maybe the speed at which we deliver may not be easy for some slow learners to learn and understand. So definitely we can get a feedback from such a student, so that we can adjust accordingly our learning, our delivery, the speed and the content or the detail, right? Everything can be adjusted accordingly, and that's how we can make our teaching and learning much more efficient, and that is possible through an e-learning platform. And then better communication with the parents. So e-learning offers a greater transparency to the parents in terms of how their children are preparing for school. Overall, it contributes to better communication between the teachers and the parents. So even now also many a times when there is a parent teachers meeting in a primary school and also the high schools, the teachers interact with the parents and they explain the learning curve of the students to the parents, whether a student is lagging behind or in a normal or a better student or so. So that can even be done in a regular basis or with the same pace in a regular basis through an online platform. So the parents will have a better understanding and better communication with the teachers so that they can always monitor their kids. That's how they're also satisfied with the learning curve of the kids, and also how the learning happens, and what is how the teachers are delivering the things in a better way and how the kids learn. So all those things are possible in the e-learning platform. And finally, it saves time, as we already discussed. Time is the most precious commodities for educators. By eliminating the need to commute to the school during evenings and weekends, educators can spend more time on learning concepts. Okay, and then the greener and more effective. And today, because we are thinking of a paperless office or a paperless library, we wanted to go with everything digitalized because we want to save the paper and save the environment. Because many a times you have read in articles, right, how much of resources we are spending for a paper and how much of trees we are cutting for a paper. Suppose if we go paperless, that is online, definitely we can save the environment and trees and all. In that sense, we call it as a greener and more cost effective. So one of the most important benefits of e-learning for the teachers are the reduced cost when it comes to classroom rentals, travel fees, and printing cost. So paper consumption is also significantly reduced because all of the information is in an electronic format. Okay, so these are some of the important points we must remember as a teacher, right? How e-learning or online learning helps us to assess ourselves, progress ourselves, and make us more efficient in terms of our profession. So with this as a self-development, because the teachers, once they complete their master's degree, they just join some institutions. And even the students after their bachelor's degree, like BE or BSc or BCA, so maybe there is a requirement that they have to work for their family, right? I mean, for the day-to-day expenses. So definitely they are going to join some corporate sectors or some institutions. So then, do you think that such students should stop learning? Or once a teacher or a master degree student becomes a teacher, do you think that the education ends at that level only? No, because a teacher can continue further, can do a research, right, and a postdoctoral research, and they can study any any subject in any domain as such, depending upon their interest. So it is applicable to a teacher as well as a student, or in general we can call it as a learner. So the first is the creativity, right? As well as the self-development is concerned, a creativity is one important parameter. On a daily basis, teachers are challenged to become more versatile and creative in order to attract the attention of the students. Using a variety of online resources for an online training provokes and develops the creative thinking processes of educators. So definitely, whenever I want to prepare this PowerPoint presentation, I need to think, how can I make this presentation much more attractive and eye-catching and very clear to the audience. So now look at, I have just included our university logo at one end and department logo at another end. At the footnote, I have mentioned my name. At the top, I have mentioned the topic or a subtopic as such. Even I can make it much more animated. I can put more images, more pictures, and I can make it more animated, right? I can embed the audio, video, etc. So I can make it much more attractive, and that's what is the creativity, right? If a teacher is more creative or an instructor is more creative, he can make use of any such kind of creative ideas in the presentation so that they can make it much more attractive, and that's what is the creativity. So this e-learning platform provides such an opportunity for the trainer or a teacher, a creativity, so that a trainer or a teacher can make use of all those things, and they can deliver better goods to the learners, and that's what is the creativity. And then lifelong learning, it never you can continue learning forever. You never think of stop, right? So that's how lifelong learning means. E-learning platforms are one of the channels that educators can use to deepen their knowledge and increase their skills, right? Because we, being an employees of a particular university or a college, so definitely we are always engaged with our day-to-day classes and other responsibilities in the institute, right? When you go to the office at 9 o'clock in the morning, so you will definitely engage with one of the other activities till 5:30 or 6 o'clock. For example, if at all you want to, if you have an interest to learn something, then how you can do it? So definitely for such interested people, so definitely you can make yourself time and convenient, and you can even learn any other subjects of your interest. I, being a technical person, right, having studied a computer science, it doesn't mean that I should not study a Kannada, a literature, right, or an English literature or economics, right? So if I have an interest, I can definitely enroll for an online degree, and I can learn. So I can continue learning, whether it is in my domain or across the domain, it doesn't matter. Depending upon my interest, I can continue learning for a lifelong. And that's how e-learning or online learning supports a lifelong learning. And then building a community. I already mentioned that we can build a community, right? Okay. Online platform allow educators to stay connected with the colleagues from all over the world, as well as to share ideas and gain inspiration. So many of you are already aware of it. There are many such social networks like LinkedIn, ResearchGate. Apart from that, we can also create our own community groups, and we can include the people across the globe, and we can share our ideas. Suppose if we have some issues to be discussed or some solutions to be provided for some problems, then definitely we can put that problem across the group and allow or ask other experts to comment on that and get the solution, and then consolidate and finally come to a conclusion. And that's how we can provide a better solution, a better understanding regarding a particular problem, right? And that is possible through building a community, and that is also possible with the support of e-learning and online learning. And another is the self-reflection. I already mentioned we can use associated feedback. Okay, so modern platform bring more benefits to benefits of e-learning to the teachers, particularly like the ability to make audio and video recordings of their lessons, and then to watch online and reflect on the same recording afterwards. So definitely, dear participants, whenever I'm delivering a lecture, or when you are delivering a lecture, many times we may do some mistakes. Maybe sometimes we do some grammatical mistakes, right? Or sometimes we include some points which are not very much relevant. Suppose, how do you know that whether you have given a relevant examples, or whether you want to know whether you have given any irrelevant examples when you are delivering a lecture, right? Because when you are in that mood of delivering a content to the audience, sometimes maybe you may go out of track. Okay, because of that mood, you may go out of track, or sometimes you might have given some examples which are not very much relevant. But you want to know, or you want to assess whether my lecture was good, whether I have given a good examples, relevant examples. whether I made any mistakes while delivering a lecture, whether it is a grammatical mistake or the speed at which I deliver a content to the audience, the sequence with which I explain the whole idea. So maybe there is always possible to improve our delivery, right? The maybe the speed at which we deliver, the volume, okay, and also the content, the sequence, and examples, and many things as such. So then, how do I know that whether I have delivered my content in a very effective way or not? So the one solution to this is we can record it, because now recording is already going on. Okay, we can record it and we can get that recorded audio and a video, and we can watch it, we can analyze it, where we went wrong, and we can fine tune it, or we can rectify it, so that in subsequent presentations or sessions, we should not do such mistakes. Okay, so that's how a self-reflection. So for a beginner, for example, a student has just completed the master's degree and he or she has joined an institute as a teacher or a professor, right? Then how can such a student without an experience can become a more effective teacher? So definitely the e-learning platform with the tools supports such students to have a self-reflection. Accordingly, they can understand and they can be the better teachers and get more experience in this platform. And finally, observation. Observing other educators via different online courses can be very beneficial, and teachers can compare different teaching styles, practices, etc., and they can become more aware of what kind of teachers they are. So many times we call some teachers as a great teachers, or inspiring teachers, or a motivating teachers. Then why do we call only a few people as the inspiring teachers, or a motivating teachers, or a great teachers? Maybe their teaching style and their practices and all those things are quite different from ordinary teachers, right? So then definitely when we are listening to such type of people and their teaching style, then definitely we'll be motivated, and we also wanted to be the teachers like them. Then definitely this online platform or e-learning platform will provide such an opportunity. We can listen to an experts in our domain or in our field, okay, and we can understand that how such experts are delivering a particular content or a particular topic, and with examples and a style and many things as such. So when we understand that, so definitely we will also cultivate such teaching style and a habit and a practices. So maybe after a continuous learning observation, we also can become a good teachers, and we also can become a motivating teacher, an inspiring teachers. And this is how we can observe other educators via different online courses and can be very beneficial, right? So these are some of the things. So with these observations, now I just wanted to give you some more information regarding the characteristics of e-learning. Okay, so this is of course already familiar to you. Okay, but I just wanted to touch up on these points in a quick way, just for the for the sake of continuity and completeness. So when it comes to e-learning or online learning, what are the things which matters? The first thing is the content. So definitely in any e-learning environment, we can use a content like a text, video, graphics, and a sound. So many of you have already observed and you have listened to many audio lectures. When you have listened to those audio video lectures, you might have seen that there is a text in it, there's a video, there's a graphics, and after the sound. All these makes, or this multimedia information is used in a e-learning or in online platform. That is what is the content. So when it comes to the resources, apart from what we are delivering with a PowerPoint presentation or in online classes, we can also help learners with a new resources or link to the resources. So we can provide other training materials, other web-based training, linked to electronic performance support system. So we can give all these details to the learner, and by making use of these resources, the learner can better understand and enhance the learning ability and understand the concept in a better way. When it comes to administration, so definitely this platform will help the institution in terms of administration, that is enrollment, monitoring, and progress assessment, whether is a teacher or a student or administrator or it is. So all such enrollment, monitoring, progress assessment, everything can be done in online mode only. So many of you are already aware of Google Classrooms, where you can enroll students in online, you can monitor students online, and even you can assess the progress of the student online as well. Now, even the corporate sectors, because after COVID-19, they have allowed employees to work from home. How a company CEO can manage and assess the progress of his or her employee in online mode only. So as an administrator, we do definitely adopt this technology, and we can do all these things in a very effective way. That's enrollment, monitoring, progress assessment, everything can be done in online only. And then when it comes to the delivery, so definitely we need internet, web, distance learning, and CD-ROM. So these are the different modes of delivering the things to the learner. Okay, whether it's a teacher or a student or a kid, whatever it may be, we can make use of these modes to deliver the things to the learner. And apart from this, we also mentioned about the collaboration and sharing. Okay, so community of practice. For example, we can have economic community, a community of commerce, and community of computer science researchers, and similarly a community of English literature and etc. So those people can join that community and they can have a discussion, and that's how it provides a better learning environment, right? And that's what is the communities of practice. And the peers, even sometimes you can directly interacting with one-to-one, right? So that means you can get connected with another person who is working in the same domain and on the same topic. So definitely you can establish a peer-to-peer connection, and you can have a communication with such persons, and that's what is the peer-to-peer communication or interactions. Then other trainings, experts, mentors, and advisors. So all those people can be included in a platform, and with all that, we can provide a better learning environment. So with this, there is a learner control as well. That is the practice, pacing, feedback, content, and accessibility. As well as a learner is concerned, he can practice with the associated feedback, which we already mentioned. And also the pacing means, as I already mentioned, there are slow learners and the fast learners, right? A slow learner can learn a concept in 1 hour, but a slow learner may need 5 hours to learn the same concept. Then definitely such a slow learner can listen to the same audio video many times and can understand, or he can spend more time and he can understand, and he can come to the level of fast learners, and that's what is called the pacing, right? And then in the feedback, I already mentioned, with the feedback you can learn better. And also the content, a wide variety of content, as we already mentioned, the text, video, graphics, and sound, everything can be included, and that's what is the multimedia content. It provides a better information delivery to the learner. And next is the accessibility. There's a 24/7 accessibility, right? You can access at any time. You have a system at home, you have a smartphone with you, and you have an internet connectivity. So 24/7 is the accessibility, right? So you can definitely access to any material or resources anytime at your convenience, and you can learn it. So these are the characteristics of any e-learning or online platform. So with this, when it comes to building an e-learning, right, a culture or environment, so the 3 important entities are the learner, the teacher, and the administrator, right? We need to train the teacher, and also we help the learner, and also the administrator should provide such a platform for a learner and a teacher, and that's how we can build an e-learning culture. Now, when you look at the responsibilities, right? So when it comes to the learner, it is a self-directed. So learner should have a responsibility that and also the interest in learning. Okay, so it's a self-directed. So there is, I mean, nobody is going to direct you. Okay, so you must be directed by yourself. That is a self-directed, self-motivated, self-regulating, and lifelong learning, right? So we are all teachers, and definitely we do possess these attributes with us. We are self-directed. So we don't expect someone else to direct us because we are already matured enough. So we are self-directed. For example, if at all I want to learn something related to law, or I want to learn something related to constitution and environment, I don't expect someone to direct me. I can just self-directed and I can learn if I understand that it is very much important for me, right? So self-directed and self-motivated. So for example, whenever I am learning literature or anything as such, I may be motivated to write article on certain subject, or even some chutukas or kavite or kavana, etc. So self-motivated, right? So by going through some other's work, I will be motivated so that I can continue in the direction as well. So that's what a self-motivated. So we should have such self-motivation and self-regulating. And this is very, very important, self-regulating, because as we already mentioned that this e-learning platform provides you 24/7 accessibility, and there is no control over accessing any piece of information. Of course, we do have certain restrictions, right? Because whenever a kid is using online platform, so definitely we have to filter certain content, and then we should allow the kids to access to only that particular content, right? So even then, there should be a kind of regulation, and we should have regulating ourselves. That's what is called self-regulating. So our focus should be in learning, not in deviation, right? So we should regulate accordingly, and we can channelize our learning, and that may definitely enhance our learning ability and never deviate us from our learning, and also get into something which is unwanted. And then lifelong learning, we already mentioned what is meant by lifelong learning. So these are some of the very important attributes as far as the learner is concerned. A learner with these attributes definitely contributes to e-learning culture, right? And these are the attributes expected by a learner. Then when it comes to the teacher, how a teacher helps in building an e-learning culture. One is develop knowledge and skill, right? A teacher should have a knowledge and should have a skill to deliver a content in an online mode, right? How can he can deliver a better content to the audience, right? So develop knowledge and also the skills needed for building an e-learning culture. Understand learning and its need, facilitate learning, create learning opportunities. So these are the responsibilities of a teacher. And then as an administrator, create a learning environment. For example, the HRDC Center of University of Mysore right now is an administrator which provides such a learning environment where it helps us connected each other, and I'm delivering some goods to you and you are receiving at your end. So such an environment or a facility is provided by the HRDC Center of University of Mysore. So as an administrator, that is their responsibility. And also they provide ICT infrastructure and resources for lifelong learning. So these three are the very important entities which build an e-learning culture with these responsibilities, right? So with this, I think there is a tea break, and we shall assemble back after 30 minutes, and we shall continue in this direction. I try to give you some more technical information on the topic e-learning and online learning. Okay, so thank you. Let's have a break and get back after 30 minutes. So 3:45. So thank you. We'll be back.